somebody's asshole. Everybody's somebody's jerk. Even if you're great, you're bound to irritate someone when you're driving or at work. Everybody's somebody's asshole. Everybody's somebody's creep. Even if you're nice, you needn't wonder twice. You've certainly disturbed somebody's sleep.
Welcome to Therapist Uncensored. Building on decades of professional experience, this podcast tackles neurobiology, modern attachment, and more in an honest way that's helpful in healing humans. Your session begins now with Dr. Ann Kelly and Sue Marriott.
Hey, you guys. While we know relationships are wonderful, they are also really hard. Many of us believe that they shouldn't be, that if we have good connection and good communication, things will just go smoothly. But it's really that belief that can make us feel stubborn and even more hopeless. So relationships take work. It does for Sue and I. We can make it look easy. It's not. And one of the ways is because many of us, we differ. We differ in what activates us, what makes us feel threat, the expectation, and it's these differences that are held in our body, not our thoughts. And they influence how we talk, how we love, how we fight. So holding that belief, if he or she or they could just understand me, if they love me, they do something different, is not really true. And we're talking about relationships with your partner, your teenager, your mother-in-law. So Sue and I have created an online course that can help you understand yourself and those you love in a different way. This is not just for therapists, it's for everyone. Although the good news is if you're a therapist, you can get CEs along the way, and all of you can use the visuals and the worksheets individually, or you can even use them in your own private practice. So while the course is based on our book, Secure Relating, Holding Your Own in an Insecure World, it is definitely not a replication of the book. We talk directly to you. You learn how to understand more deeply your attachment, those you love, the neuroscience behind it, and how to build secure types of connections right now in your everyday relationships. Rather than changing one another, y'all can shift together in very important ways. It's very powerful. We're getting great reviews. Check it out. It's at therapistuncensored.com/BAS. therapistuncensored.com/BAS. The BAS stands for Beyond Attachment Styles, the Science of Growing Secure Adult Relationships. And by the way, the cost of the course is about the amount of one individual therapy session, and yet you get hours and hours and hours of what we think is extremely valuable information. So check it out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Therapist Uncensored. I'm sitting here with Ann Koplow, and let's just jump right in. Can you just briefly describe yourself?
Okay, I'm a group therapist. I work at Beth Deaconess Medical Center within the Healthcare Associates Primary Care Practice. I do 6 groups a week, coping and healing. I love doing groups. And I've also always loved music and found it very healing from when I was a little kid. And much to my surprise, about 6 years ago, I started writing songs, which I actually sometimes use in my groups.
Wonderful. So that's kind of the official bio. What else? How else would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as brave.
It's true.
Yes.
I can attest to this.
Kind of fearless. Someone who likes to go to group conferences and learn more. That's where you and I met.
It's true.
I live south of Boston. I haven't published anything yet, but I think that's because I like doing short form stuff. You know, like I write songs. I write a blog post every day and have done so since 2013. So it gets me going during the day.
So you mentioned the group conference that we met at. That is the American Group Psychotherapy Association. I'll be leading an institute there next year. So I want to just give it a quick plug. It's great. It's going to be in New York City. It is a happening time, wonderful place to train. Even if you don't do groups right now, it's an incredible way to learn and to honestly to get some therapy.
Yeah. And also to get some CEUs.
Lots of CEUs.
Yes.
That's right. And then just a little bit more, like you said that as a child that you became interested in music. Can you kind of draw a line from that to where we are now? Like what from your formative days are you bringing forward? Good and bad and ugly and wonderful.
All that, yeah. So one of the things about me is that I was born with a very rare heart condition. So spent a lot of time in hospitals when I was a little kid.
What's it called? Do you mind?
Not at all. It's called congenitally corrected transposition of the great arteries. It's probably the rarest congenital heart condition out there. So they didn't even really know that that's what I had until I was in my 20s. But I was born, they knew I had a complete heart block and that there was nothing to do for me back then. So as I got older, I got a pacemaker. I'm one of the oldest surviving people with a pacemaker.
Do you mind sharing your age?
Not at all. I'm 72. And I was actually 10 when I had my first pacemaker implanted. And that was kind of a big surprise. And it was actually the day that Kennedy got killed. So there was a lot of trauma back then. And the way I got through it, well, one was I got through it by getting a cat. And also I really would like dance in the basement to my parents' musical comedy albums and love music. And I would apparently go and sing to the neighbors. And my dad was a singer. And so I really, again, music was really healing and has been throughout the years. Like there's certain musicians I adore. I started playing piano when I was really young, and I went to actually what is now Berklee College of Music for 2 summers when I was in high school, and really used music, again, as a way to heal.
I want to get to the music, but I'm also just curious about the impact on your development of this medical issue, this inherited medical issue.
It wasn't inherited.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. It was from birth, and it was not inherited. Yeah.
Right. And again, I know this is like we're forcing something about like how did that impact you, and to put words on it and things like that. But I'm also thinking about other people that had serious health concerns growing up and just kind of wanting to loop that particular interesting piece in too.
Yeah, well, I think having that experience as a little kid and being in hospitals, it really gave me a sense of my own mortality, which I didn't know how long I was going to live. I mean, if you go online and look at descriptions of people with this really rare heart condition, a lot of people die young, I mean, it's kind of a miracle in ways that I'm still surviving and as old as I am and healthy, as you can see.
Absolutely. Stunningly healthy.
Thank you. Takes one to know one. So I think that it gave me a lot of gifts. I mean, it gave me really appreciating every day. Like every day is a gift. And I don't know, maybe it makes me fearless. I think it gives me a lot of empathy for the people that I work with, because the people I work with, the people I do groups with, have a lot of different medical conditions. And yeah, I think that there's a lot of ways in which that experience really shaped me.
Yeah, I can so relate to this. I cannot even tell you. It's weird timing because there's stuff that I think I assumed inheritable because I'm like learning things about my own genetic whatever and predispositions and really some scary stuff, aortic, vascular, this and that. So the whole thing of you don't know how long you have, things can change suddenly. I've kind of always had that because I've had people die suddenly in my life, but it's really heightened for me now. So I hadn't even planned on, talking about this aspect of it, but there's a gift in it already. And I've always had it about like, this is not a dress rehearsal. Come on, people. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is all we've got, and it's going to be out in a blink. And as your age, my age, I'm 59, just so we're both vulnerable about that. Where we are in our timeline, we're in the timeline of our lifespans. So even that is however it ends, there's just this finiteness that to me, some people call me intense and stuff like that, but some of it is driven from let's live, let's do this. I want to heal, I want to grow, I want to share my resources, and I want to be of service in a big way.
Time's a wasting. Let's go. And people call me deep, and I think that's part of it. Actually, one of the songs I wrote is Shameless Appeals for Applause. So what I try to do is to take this stuff, and I mention the heart condition and Shameless Appeals for Applause, because one of the things that I've dealt with over the years is I think some ambivalence about people knowing this about me. Is that going to change how they feel about me? And the blog that I write, which is the Years of Living Non-Judgmentally, the reason I wrote it was I wanted to be more open about the heart condition. And then I went through a whole bunch of things with the heart. I had to go to the Mayo Clinic to get a new heart valve. I was really kind of failing and then doing better. And having that daily outlet to talk about it, to write about it, and to get support from the people following my blog was so healing. I see everything, Sue, as a group. Everything.
I can get that. Say more.
Yeah. Well, like the blog. When I blog, I feel like it's a group.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think the podcast is a group. The
podcast is a group. Yes.
For sure. People, so all of you listening right now, you're in a group with all of these other people around the world. It's incredible. All listening to the exact same thing, maybe or maybe not at the same time. But that part doesn't matter, that you're in the group.
Right. Exactly.
So welcome to our group.
Yeah. Welcome to our group. You're all awesome. And I have a very big following on what I still like to call Twitter. And I think the reason a lot of people follow me there, I try to sell my music to people. They, and in my blog, and they don't really pay attention. But what they really like is
because you're just shamelessly going for that applause.
I go for everything. Why not, Sue? Just go for it. But I ask questions every day. I ask a question at the end of the day, and people have told me that they really wait for my questions. And the questions are either trivial, like what would you like on your pizza, or how do you deal with anxiety? And everybody, people answer and they connect with each other and they find it really. So I feel like, especially in that, what feels like a cesspool these days, it's creating a safe enough space for people to share. Yeah, feels like a big group without the drama and the angst.
So do you want to say a little bit more then about that particular song?
Which song?
The Shameless.
Oh, Shameless Appeals for Applause. Okay, see, I wasn't sure which ones we were going to talk about.
Oh, no, it's okay. Just the title is interesting. And what you said was, if I got that right, was that part of you mentioning your heart condition in that particular song is some of your efforts at being more open about this, which I think is lovely. Because anything that we're holding back, secrets. The way I think of it is that, like a little beach ball that we're holding underwater behind our back. And it's not hard. It's not heavy. It's easy to do, but it's effortful. And to let the air out of that beach ball, not have to be worrying about suppressing something or not thinking about something or not sharing something makes you healthier, actually.
I think so. And I also think having a humorous twist to really point out that, yes, I kind of want attention for this, and I'm also going to call it Shameless. And it starts at, I've made it to age, well, this is 71, right? I was born with heart problems, but my life's not near done. I love what I do, and I'm still having fun. Those are shameless appeals for applause. They're all true and reliably cause clapping and oohs and some ahs. Those shameless appeals for applause. And it's just, and I've also been paying attention to what people applaud. They applaud if you mention where you grew up. They applaud. I mean, I have this thing in there about I'm going to be voting for Trump. Against Trump. I can't believe I just said that. I also have this thing where I say I'm voting to stop Trump, and that gets a huge applause, so it's also paying attention to what people respond to, because I think we never know what people are going to respond to. And I think that's even true with like the therapeutic interventions that we do. We never know.
Well, one of the things that I'm really drawn to about you is this shamelessness that you have. And part of it is it's like we're inviting anybody listening to celebrate their own kind of inner narcissist. I have a friend who's lovely and wonderful, but every now and then when she's very comfortable, she'll pretend like that she's walking on stage and she's waving and like throwing kisses. I mean, nobody's there, but she's like totally like looking way up in the balcony, like, you there. Oh, hi. You know? And it's so delightful. So for everybody listening, we invite you right now to just connect to that part of you that wants to be seen and celebrated, and to have someone delight in you. Delight is an important concept when it comes to attachment. So these things are playful and fun, but they're also quite important around being witnessed.
Right, because that's healing. And I think letting go of shame is a big part of the work that we do with ourselves and with other people.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you had also mentioned that music early on. Was there anything in particular around that story of like when music first clicked for you or anything like that? Or has it just always been?
It's always been for as long as I can remember. My father's singing around the house, a lot of singing going on. I think he was a frustrated showbiz guy, actually. He was very hilarious and really, really funny, and had a great voice, and was stuck being a pharmacist. I don't think he really enjoyed that very much, but he did, the right thing for his family.
Right. And for you to be experiencing your father singing is a whole different neural experience than coming home from work and like getting the next thing and then it just puts you someplace else. I'm thinking about in my home, I'm just kind of relating. It was kind of a depressive, very heavy. It was heavy. And yet when the record player would come out, and my mom loved Elvis Presley, and it changed your metronome inside. It changed your resonance. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So when did you first start writing music?
Well, so what happened was that I, loved music, and I did open mics where I would sing other people's songs, and just loved so many different types of music. And again, never thought I would write a song, but I was having to deal with someone that I wasn't getting along with. And I'm sure I'm not alone when I say when we're dealing with people like that, they take up an inordinate amount of space in our heads. So I was trying to deal with this, working, to try to make it better. It wasn't getting any better. I was very, very frustrated about it. And then one morning when I was taking a shower, which is, by the way, where I get most of my really good ideas, this song just sprang into my head with words and music. And I love a lot of people. My friends know this is true. Human beings are my favorite things, but I don't like you.
That's great. That's great.
So I wrote that, and it was a whole story, and, ended up funny. And I shared it with people. I did it at an open mic. I got a tremendous reaction to it. People really related to it. And I thought I was going to be a one-hit wonder, and that was going to be it. Because
And this is called what? I don't like you?
I don't like you.
Yeah.
That's a song. You know how I sang?
It's so true. Like, it's just the truth.
It's the truth. And it's like, again, shameless about it. I don't like you. I mean, there's a line in there. There may be tragic reasons. Your unpleasant qualities grew. I try to be kind, have an open mind. Still, I don't like you. So, it's like the empathy. So after I did that, I thought, okay, I've done that. I can move on to other things. But then what I did was I wrote a song called Catastrophizing, because I was catastrophizing so much about performing that song that I wrote a song about all the catastrophizing things I'm thinking while I'm singing a song. Then it just sort of like opened the floodgates.
You just started processing through it.
Yeah. It became another way to express myself. And I think that the things I write songs about, because I was, trying to prepare for this podcast.
I was going to say, is it going to come up, or is this going to be a song from this?
Maybe. The name of my blog post today was going to be on a blog post, Before I Feel Ready, because one of my songs is I left the house before I felt ready.
I was just listening to that actually before we came on. I was just hoping for a personal song. That's all. That's my shamelessness.
A person. Oh, well, okay. What would you like, Sue?
No, I'm teasing.
Oh, okay. So it's just interesting to see how the songs resonate. And there are certain songs that I sing, as you witnessed. I sang Everybody's Somebody's Asshole in a difficult group as a way to deal with that.
Okay, wait. We haven't talked about this. And for those listening, I was so moved by this song in a funny way, like again, just truth-telling, that I ended up, with permission, playing it at a full-day conference. And we recorded the applause after this song and sent it to you to just add to your lifelong being fully celebrated and applause. I mean, I think you got hoots and hollers and whistles and, there's over 200 people. So it was wonderful.
Yeah. And I think that I don't want to speak for other people, but I know for myself, I yearn for that.
So what she's describing is we were in they call them institutes. They're 2-day groups. They can be very intense. This was a difficult group. Basically what happened, she literally broke into song, a cappella, just started going and sang the entire song. And many of us were like, what is happening? So tell me about that moment, because it'll be a good example of how you use it in group.
It was a difficult group. I think that there was a difficult person in the group. And
that wasn't me, right?
That was totally not you. And I think this person was being difficult with you and with me and with a lot of people in the group. And I think we didn't know what to do with this person. And my sense is that nobody really knew what to do with this person. So I guess I wrote this song perhaps for these situations, because what I'm saying is we're all somebody's asshole. I was thinking I was probably this person's asshole and this person was my asshole. And I just thought it would be helpful for the group to sing it.
So what's a little nugget from that one?
Everybody's somebody's asshole. Everybody's somebody's jerk. Even if you're great, you're bound to irritate someone when you're driving or at work. Everybody's somebody's asshole. Everybody's somebody's creep. Even if you're nice, you needn't wonder twice. You've certainly disturbed somebody's sleep. Who's your asshole? Whose asshole are you? We're all assholes, according to somebody's view. Everybody's somebody's asshole. Some asshole told me that long ago. It can cause you grief or bring you some relief to know that you can let your asshole show. So I did truncate that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And again, the message, right? It's so freeing.
It is. And I still remain curious about how you use that in
the conference?
Yeah, in the conference.
We did it like before a break. It was like kind of like mixing things up. I don't remember exactly the content piece around it. It was definitely a plug for group therapy.
Yes.
Because I did share the story of like this crazy woman just broke into song,
my goodness.
But it's even happening now. Like you almost can't help but sing as you're talking. Like that the songs just come to you and you're expressing yourself through song, and it's beautiful and people can relate. How do you use it in your groups?
So a lot of the songs that I write are inspired by the work that people are doing in my groups. So, for example, I have a song called Triggers. Everybody has a trigger. Most of us have more than one. Some are small and some are bigger. None of them are ever fun. And then I have a list of the triggers. And I wrote that when I was triggered by something. And someone actually in group this week was talking about how they didn't really understand what a trigger was until they heard my song, and now they really understand it. So I think there's a way in which music gets in a way that other things don't get in. So Triggers is a song that I've gotten that feedback from people in the group. People, love the asshole song. And then I have my serious song, which actually my son suggested I write a song with the title Don't Kill Yourself. And that was because, as therapists, we're dealing with people who are suicidal. And what do we do with that? So,
And some therapists need reminding not to kill themselves.
we all do, especially during, I think these are very tough times. So that was a song which was very uncharacteristic of me in that it's totally serious. I remember when my son suggested I write a song with that title, I was running it by him, and I think I got a little like quirky and a little something like humorous, like whatever it is I usually do. And he said, no, just keep it really simple. And that was really good, helpful advice.
And you said that this is the one that is streamed more than any of your other music.
Which really surprised me because I've always thought that my big hit was going to be Everybody's Somebody's Asshole.
Your Grammy winner.
Yes. Well, I actually have a song called I'd Like to Win the Grammy. Yeah. The best new artist.
That's why I mentioned that. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Sue. This is just seamless. So it's a really serious song. It's hard not to cry when I sing that song. Now, I will tell you that I sang that song for a gathering of the social workers at the hospital I work at, thinking that was the song they wanted to hear. But I mentioned in the introduction that this was getting streamed more than what I thought would be the song that most people would want to hear, which was Everybody's Somebody's Asshole. And after I finished, everybody went, we want to hear the asshole song.
Of course.
Which I did.
Yeah. So do you break out in song, or do you refer them to music? Like, how do you use it clinically?
I think, well, in mindfulness, I often ask, there's a lot of people with trauma in the group, a lot of people, very creative people, different ways, some musicians, some writers, and I use mindfulness in every group. So there's a mindfulness exercise that I do where I ask people to tune into the song they're hearing in their head. And when I ask people, what is your coping strategy? Like, what's your personal medicine? People say music all the time.
Totally. It's easy.
Yeah, easy. Now, it's not everybody, but it's a lot of people. So it just seems natural. And people know that I do this. They like it. Like when a new person comes into the group, because my groups are open access, so new people are joining all the time. Sometimes someone will say, what you don't know about Anne is that she has songs, and sometimes she brings in her ukulele and she sings for us. So it seems to be something that they find healing and they like. I'm not totally shameless. So I don't, I really want to start where the patient is, of course, as we all do. So I really don't do the music unless I think it's something that would be really helpful for people to hear, or unless they ask me to.
Right. So you stay, you are able to set the shamelessness aside for it. And you're a therapist first.
I'm a therapist first. Yeah. The shameless thing is interesting because it's like, I want us all to throw away the shame. But, usually when we use a word like shameless, we think of someone who, it's like the John Bradshaw stuff, that people, if you're around a shameless person, the non-shameless people pick up the shame and hold it. So we talk about shame a lot in the groups and, in therapy in general.
Well, that's good. And then do you, I was trying to think of how I use it. Like I would be fired if I broke out in song.
Would you?
Rightfully so.
Oh my goodness.
Well, just that I can't hit the side of a barn. I can't hit a note like the side of a barn. I don't know how to say that exactly, but I will say that I make up for my lack of talent and my enthusiasm for the arts, and being a receiver. You've got to have a good receiver too, even just like what happened between us, where that you gave it, I caught it, I amplified it, here we are. So I am curious, like as people are listening, there's a couple of themes, one being, I noticed each song that you said, it wasn't that someone else was working on it. It was like you were triggered. It was you leaving the house before you were ready. I think that's part of what makes it, I don't know, more approachable, more interesting. It isn't for someone else. I don't know. There's something about like we're stepping inside of you.
Yeah. Well, a word that keeps coming up about my songs, and I think if I do another album, I think I'm probably going to use this as the title, relatable. And I think that speaks to group therapy, that when people are authentic and share things, all the stuff, there's going to be someone else that really relates to it. And the stuff that I need to or want to get out in song, like I wrote a song, I'm Mad About You, when I was really mad about what was happening in politics. And I was thinking how there are all these songs that women sing, like I'm mad about you. And it's usually about some guy that's not treating her well. So I wrote a song, I'm Mad About You, about being really mad at a guy, at men. And I have another anger song. It's like I have my anger suite, but it's like, what do we do with anger? And I remember waking up in the middle of the night when this stuff was going on with the Supreme Court, and I couldn't get back to sleep. And I was so mad, and it just came to me, and I wrote down the lyrics, and then I went back to sleep.
That's incredible. Lady Gaga.
Okay.
So another way that I use music as I think about it, and I'd forgotten about this actually until just now, even early on the podcast, I had made a Spotify list. It's out there somewhere, like dorsal vagal, ventral vagal, sympathetic, right? Like just as a way of learning, but also I'm drawn to different playlists at different times. And then I think about, oh God, this has been really deep for me. Okay, Wicked is about to be released. I don't know when this episode will come out, but we're recording in early November. Wicked for Good is about to come out. And I just think of the millions of people that are singing along with these rebellion songs and finding that battle cry at the end. And there was a day the bus had just let out. I was in my office and I could hear these young girls doing I won't do it because I can't do it, but the battle cry at the end, the big number. And I was like, oh, now that's in their body of power and no. And I can fly alone if I need to, if this is wrong for me. So it just goes to my toes about how I think that this can change people and heal people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was trying to think of like, how do I apply? Like I have all these philosophies about it, but do I use it? And I think it's just naturally woven in. Like I'm thinking about one person that's pretty shut down and pretty scared, has trauma around being approached and things like that. And their intervention is to just privately in their own car tune into music that they used to love. And it just does it. It already does it. It opens up the system. It gets the ventral vagal thumping.
Yeah, and you hear stories about people with dementia who don't respond to, they respond to music. Yeah, I think it's an amazingly powerful tool.
Right, and I want to lump art and painting, drawing, photography, all of those things, those creative expressions, and go back to what you just said about doing a blog every day. And some people would just call that journaling, but you have found a way to create a community around it that probably holds you too. Those comments and the answering your questions and things like that is lovely. So just as we roll around, I want you to tell us all about your socials and where to find you and stuff like that in just a moment. But as you're listening, I really want you to kind of go inward around like, where's your creative expression? And this doesn't mean you have to be good. Remember, I can't hit a note as far as the side of a barn. What is that? Is there a saying, or am I making that up?
There is something about not being able to hit the side of a barn, but I think that's throwing something.
Oh, well, that's me trying to throw my voice in any kind of note in any kind of way. I can't hit the side of a barn. But so it's not, goes back to shameless and shame-free, maybe a better way of saying it. So I have a client who was pressure washing their driveway, and they began to draw with the pressure washer. And then they went around their neighborhood on sidewalks and began to beautify it with this pressure washer. It was this fantastic, like, unbidden discovery that led to some other really cool things. So it's more of like we're talking to your psyche. You don't have to know right now, but it's like this little tickle invitation for all of those listening to tune into this nonlinear, not less verbal wisdom and knowledge as a resource for healing and growth and as a resource for other people. What do you think about that?
I agree. I don't know if I could have said that any better. I think you hit the side of the barn with that.
Do I get a Grammy? Well, hey, your shame-freeness is contagious, which is part of why you're on here. I hope that many of you your shame is a little bit less now than it was before. We're going to highlight that song, Everybody's Somebody's Asshole. It's beautiful. So tell us, where can we find you? If people are interested, tell us about your blog.
Okay, so my blog is The Singing Therapist. There is this thing called Linktree with a period in the middle of it. So it's linktr.ee/singing therapist. And that's actually has all the links to everything that I do. I actually write parody songs and my blog and Twitter and, all my music. So that is the link. And there are apparently other singing therapists, but,
So Ann Koplow.
Ann Koplow, the singing therapist.
Okay, there you go. And any other final thoughts that we haven't said yet or you want to reemphasize as you just imagine people listening to you? We're going back to the group and thinking about the group. Are you inspired to add anything?
Yeah, this reminds me of the end of my groups when I ask people how they're going to get closure and to say anything that feels left unsaid. And what feels left unsaid to me is to be shameless that way, to let go of your shame, throw your shame away.
It's not sexy.
Right. And
sometimes that's very motivating for people.
Yeah, that's true. And to get in touch with your fearlessness, I guess, and your creativity, know that it's going to affect somebody. Like if you put it out there, however you do that, whatever your art is, your art might just be being you, but it's going to affect other people in ways that you can't even imagine. It's like when I sang that song in the group at AGPA, I didn't know it would end up with me face to face with you
on this top 10 podcast.
Exactly. I had no idea. So you just never know.
You never know.
It's never what you expect. I think I might write a song called It's Never What You Expect.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, now what about the person that could be out there that's going, you guys are being flippant about shame. I have good reason to feel shame. I'm still in it. I can't just throw my shame away. If I could, I would. Something like that.
Yeah, I think you know best. You're the expert on your own experience. And I actually have a t-shirt that says that, which I wear when I go to medical appointments, expert on my own experience. You're the expert on your own experience. Your healing as best you can. And my hope actually is that as a therapist and as a songwriter, that I'm leaving room for people to be their authentic selves. So the shameless appeals for applause, we're focusing on that. But, there's like the song I mentioned before, Catastrophizing. I catastrophize every day. We're human. Oh, Nobody's Perfect is another song that I wrote.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what I'm thinking about that is, like, it's not really, I would say that if somebody's kind of feels the shame as a blanket too heavy to move, and you said, that you want to leave room for everybody to be their authentic self, like, to me, the little push that I want to add is that that's not your authentic self, that that's a defense, that that's a protector, and that could be trapping you. And so just even the suggestion of like, maybe, do you need it? Do you need it that heavy, that much, in that form, in the way that you think you do? Because until we take those risks and begin to look up and put the blanket down and, see what's here now, there's no way to get new information in about us not needing these different parts that come in and get in our way. So I hope that our group that we're talking to right now can use this synchrony and this conversation to kind of do their own, your own next right step for you, whatever that looks like.
Right. And just the way I did this podcast before I felt ready, and I leave the house before I feel ready, maybe consider letting go of that blanket or having a different relationship with it before you feel ready.
Oh, nice. That's a mic drop. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you guys for listening. If you are still with us, I hope that means that you found value. And if that's the case, a rating and review is the best way to help other people discover this treasure trove of interviews with incredible people that's free to the public, to the world, that we keep online at therapistsuncensored.com. You can find show notes also at therapistsuncensored.com/episodes. You'll find it right there at the top. There'll be some resources, and really in every podcast we add resources so that if you want to dig deeper, you can. And I think that's it. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you around the bend.
Therapist Uncensored is Ann Kelly and Sue Marriott. This podcast is edited by Jack Anderson.